Good evening, race fans, and welcome here to the fourth race of the 56th season of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series as we continue on what's already been an exciting start to the year, getting ready to take to the high banks of the 2.66-mile superspeedway once again here at Talladega Superspeedway. I'm Seth Cole, being joined by Michael Norman, and Michael, before we end up getting into the pre-race topics of this race, we end up learning a little bit something different about the completion of last week's race. Ended up hearing that Chuck McClure, who last week we had dubbed as a multi-time winner, 2 wins in the first 3 races, apparently he had lost first gear, had only second gear for restarts, tried to be able to compensate for that, had a late race restart where it was called a jump. Subsequently, he got EOL'd. The win was taken away. He finishes back in 29th. Rodney Sullins, the runner-up finisher, gets credited with the win. And now we've got ourselves 3 different winners in the first 3 races of the season. Obviously, got to be complete elation for Rodney Sullins because with that win, he now is locked into a playoff spot. But for Chuck McClure, I mean, that's got to be devastating in one sense that he was going to be able to have 2 victories to start out the year, but having that win the season opener, does that kind of help just a little bit, kind of help the pangs of pain there with having that win taken away?
I mean, you never want to get a win taken away from you. And, unfortunately, we did kind of notice something up with that one restart, but we didn't really think anything of it. But, it's definitely a heartbreaker to have a win like that taken away. And honestly, it's hard to kind of get over that, but at the same time, you got to put that in the back of your head and get focused on tonight's race. And who knows? We could see the trend continue and have a different winner.
You could also see a bit of a comeback story here tonight if McClure is able to find victory lane once again. As the field rolls off pit road, 38 trucks scheduled to take the green flag here tonight. Your lineup looks like this. Tim Nafsker, based off of the random qualifying draw, he is going to be starting as the pole sitter. He'll be alongside of Sean Prime. His position keeps getting better and better each week, right? I think we're giving him good mojo.
Yeah, we are. He's on the outside of the front row here, and that was absolutely crazy. And Seth, you mentioned this before that we had to write this down in history because it was the one time that FRN, the flatcaster that we use, out-qualified Joe DeSpirito.
It did. DeSpirito was scheduled to roll off from the 4th position, but instead of having our flatcaster non-existent truck, he'll have Dave Cannon actually alongside him. So Cannon going to line up in 3rd, DeSpirito in 4th. Paglia moves up to 5th with Andrew Miller 6th. 7th is where we're going to find Greg Palmer. He'll be alongside Jerm Lewis. 8th, Pat McCarskey. 9th place is going to be Billy Ellis there, and completing the top 10 appears is going to be Josh Metallic. Then you got Babby Farrell and Jessica Shelton. They're going to be sharing
did you just
road
call
together.
Him Babby?
I may have had a Freudian slip. Bobby Farrell. There you go. Jessica Shelton. They'll be alongside each other. Jason Scheck, Curlin Hurst. They're going to be back in row 8. Glenn Harris, Chuck McClure in row 9. Jeremy Jeffries and Bob Seminaric complete the top 20. Wiley Coates back in 21st. 22nd, Milt Surratt. Doug Cady, Grant Wesley back in row 12. Row 13, former winner of the season, Richard Martin, be alongside Bob Dixon. Chris Elliott and Terry Bombard back in row 19, and then, or maybe that right, row 14 rather. Then you've got Tom Dixon, Dave Melson, Ken Roberts, Wayne Pribnow, John Godfrey, Bernie Mobs. That's the top 35 with Ron Hagelin, Cy Jones, Donnie Garrett, and Brian Schilling completing the 38 truck field. Green flag in the air. We are underway here tonight, and it's going to be interesting to see, Michael, what kind of a race we are in for here at Talladega. Based off of the last 2 weeks, the race has ended under caution. The season opener ended under green. It has kind of seemed like just when we get the race figured out, all of a sudden there's a spanner thrown in the works, and it kind of throws a bit of a curveball for the drivers as well in the closing stages.
But that's just what makes Talladega that much more exciting, as we already have a wreck on the back straightaway. Oh my gosh, that's a big one.
Wow, that's Dave Melson, the car that we could see and screen. The other one that went up in the air.
Bernie Mobs.
Indeed, the 31, the Leaf Filter Chevrolet. Bernie Mobs. I think he cleared the catch fence. I mean, our camera shot couldn't even see him for a brief moment. And just like that, not even one lap in the books until now, and the yellow flag rears its ugly head in the opening stages. It could be a very early night for both Bernie Mobbs, and Dave Melson.
Yeah, that was very quick. I mean, we were just talking about it, and it's just simple right here. Just 38, the 038. I'm not sure if he was just trying to get in line, and the 31 was to his outside, and they both collided in the middle, and that's what brought out this caution flag here. I'm not too sure what exactly was up with that. It was pretty early in the race to be making moves like that.
Dave Melson's Wonderbread Chevrolet is actually, at least last I saw, still sitting over on the apron of turn number 3. Here's a look at what happened.
Still there.
It was not clear on Bernie Mobbs. Now it sends the 31 truck up into the air. I mean, I think he could have cleared 2 catch fences right there. If we built 1 catch fence on top of the other, I think he would have gone higher than that.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think the highest we've seen a truck go all season long. And Bernie Mobbs' truck coming to a rest there, as well as Melson. Bernie Mobbs, incredibly enough, that wild of a flight above the catch fence, and he was able to drive away. So, see if that, well, I was going to say, they might be able to get that truck repaired, and he might be able to continue on, but he did come down pit lane, and he made the left-hand turn to the garage area.
Yeah, both trucks are now officially out of this race.
Here's another look at it.
Very, very disappointing for Bernie Mobbs. Didn't even really get to complete 1 lap, and that already has happened to him.
Same for Dave Melson. Bernie Mobbs came into this race in the 17th position in points. And Dave Melson came into this race 10th in the point standings, which of course is a very important position in the current standings because you have to be up inside of the top 10 to be able to more than likely be eligible to point your way into a playoff spot outside of those that have a win this season, win their way in with a top 20 finish in overall points. So didn't even get 1 green flag lap under our belt before the yellow flag comes out. 2 drivers back in the garage area, and I believe this is the earliest we've had a caution all season long as well, Michael. Most of the time, our early cautions have been with about 5 or 6 laps into the event. So nobody coming down pit road. No surprise there.
Well, we did have the back end of about the back half of the field come in.
Right, but I have to wonder, this early a yellow flag, not about what, maybe half a lap, 3/4 of a lap under green flag conditions. Gotta wonder if we end up going to a long enough green flag run. I mean, this early a yellow, how much of a difference is that going to make in terms of possible pit strategy in the latter portions?
I mean, the early cautions, the longer these cars can run if they do come down pit road, and the ones that don't, well, they're still on the same strategy. But I believe it was Larry Mack that said, if you get, the more you save under caution, it's like 2 laps under caution. You can save 2 laps or something like that. It's like 2 laps under caution, then 1 lap under green or something like that. But so it's gonna be definitely something to watch, especially the different strategies.
Well, we talked about the fact that last week, based off of the post-race EOL penalty for Chuck McClure, Rodney Sullins ended up winning the race. So the point standings kind of shuffled up from what we told you last week as well at the closing of that race. Now Rodney Sullins comes into this race not only the winner of last week, but as your new points leader. He has 2 points over Bob Seminara. Chuck McClure lost the points lead, dropped down to 3rd, but he's only 13 points out, as is Richard Martin. So you've got all 3 of your winners this season up inside of the top 4. Tim Nafsker currently sits in the 5th position, as he'll be the one to lead us back to green. Glenn Harris right now runs in 6th. That's Josh Metallic, Sean Prime, Ken Roberts, and Dave Melson. That is your top 10 in the point standings coming into tonight's race as things currently stand. A lot of drivers last week did a great job in picking up positions in the standings. As we mentioned, if you're going to pick up positions in points, get the good finishes early on in the season when all the points are bunched up together. Ken Roberts, he jumped up 11 spots last week. Dave Melson up 8. Jessica Shelton jumped up 12 from 28th to 16th. And Grant Wesley, we saw him have that great run last week in his first official start of the season. He jumped his way from 41st up to from 44th rather, up to 32nd. Obviously, here tonight in the field as well, trying to continue to march his way up there at least towards the top 20 in the points standings. But you remember we talked with him last week, and he said first thing he wants to do to check off of his checklist is get that checkered flag. From there on in, the task is a little bit easier.
Yep. And that's going to be like this too. Jessica admired back in 13th spot. She, I believe, started around the 6th, somewhere between 14 and 16, I believe. And as you said, the 39 car looks to be coming, or 9 truck, a couple cars look to be coming down. I think they extended the caution. A couple cars coming down to top off their gas tank again. So the different strategies playing out here, Seth.
Looked like that was Chuck McClure that might have been coming down pit road. He would have restarted in 15th. A couple of notables that, as you alluded to, towards the back half of the field that came down pit road under this caution. Bob Seminara, Grant Wesley, Brian Schilling, Jeremy Jeffries, last week's winner Rodney Sullins, Ken Roberts. I mean, these are a bunch of drivers that, as I mentioned, are inside of the top 10, top 15 in points. So they're playing the strategy. They didn't get the benefit of the qualifying draw going their way, and so taking the hand that's dealt them, they're kind of adapting their strategy a little bit differently than what we might normally see them do. And I think that's just one of the cool things about the curveball these guys are thrown with, not being able to determine where they start in the lineup. They aren't allowed to go out there, set a qualifying lap, and be able to get those good pit positions or anything like that. You basically have to kind of base your strategy merely 10 minutes before you take the green flag on what you're going to do based off of what the random queue gives you.
Yep, and that's absolutely true. And again, that's what makes this series so exciting. You know, it's the biggest rule at Talladega, Daytona, and every plate track. It doesn't matter where you start, where you finish.
The way they're going to line up here for this restart is as follows. Tim Nafsker will lead us back to green. He'll have Sean Prime alongside of him again, so front row remains the same. Joe DeSpirito, though, is going to roll off from third, so he and Dave Cannon going to swap lanes. Cannon will be on the top side of row 2 and 4th. Andrew Miller lines up in 5th. Jerm Lewis in 6th. Mark Paglia 7th. Then it's going to be Greg Palmer, Billy Elliser, and Bobby Farrell. That's going to be the top 10 when we eventually go back green.
I don't know why I'm seriously pulling for Sean Prime, and I think it's just because he got a front row starting spot.
Prime comes into this race 8th in the point stand, despite the facts we've documented, at least in the first 2 weeks, did not get the benefit of good qualifying track position. But here tonight, out here in this clean air, leading the high side back to the start-finish line alongside of Tim Nafsker. And I just checked back, indeed, Jerm Lewis making his first official start of the season here tonight, restarting up inside of the top 10. Nafsker leads us down, waiting on the flagman. Green flag in the air, and Dave Cannon, he was ready for that green to fly, gave a heck of a shot to Sean Prime in the 15, and he got him clear, I believe, for the top spot, but Prime's not going to dive to the bottom. He'll stay up there and try and pick up Cannon in that second lane once again.
Remember, outside lanes, or that middle lane is usually the lane you want to be in. If it's got enough cars and trucks up there, that lane will be the dominant lane, at least down on the straightaways. And Seth, a time or two, me and you know all about that, because we've had our fair share of Talladega races as well. You get that outside lane going, and it's unstoppable.
Yeah, that outside line, a big reason people might wonder, why is the longer way around the racetrack the fastest? You don't have to put nearly as much wheel input into it, and that means that your corner is going to be smoother, means you're going to carry more speed. These trucks down the inside line, yeah, they're taking the shorter way around the racetrack, but there is a bit of a push-up sensation off of turns 2 and 4, especially, at least in my opinion, off of turn number 2. Sometimes you have to breathe the gas just a little bit to make sure that nose is going to get pointed and make that corner without sliding up into the truck to your outside.
And after the lap 1 incident, we still don't quite have a third lane, even though some trucks are looking for it, but it's mainly just swapping back and forth between the outside and the inside. We've got maybe 3 trucks attempting an outside lane, a third lane, but it can't quite get there. As you said, Sean Prime now trying to just get that edge out towards the lead. And the inside lane eats him up in the corners, but that outside lane on the right on the outside or on the straightaways get the better run. As you can see, they're gonna hit the 003 is gonna push Sean out to the lead right here.
Talked about that third lane and a couple of trucks up there. There they are. I believe that's Grant Wesley, Josh Metallic, and Wiley Coat trying to make something happen. Looks like they picked somebody else up there. That might have been either Ron Hagelin in the 111 or John Godfrey in the 711. But they now have 4 trucks. Now make it 5 trucks. Is somebody else going to jump up there? Is that Curlin Hurst, the 93? Indeed it is. So 3 wide around the 9th position here. I don't want to jinx anything, Michael, but this always seems to be the trend. We get the early caution, the drivers get the pre-race jitters out, get a little bit of time under pacing laps to compose themselves, and as soon as the green flag drops for the first restart, they all of a sudden start to take it 3 wide, 7 rows deep.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm noticing the gap on the inside with Jerem Lewis right there, and that's kind of breaking up the inside lane a bit. But now he's on the back bumper here. It's just, I've get word over the radios is that Lewis is making the cars a little nervous. Some of the drivers out there a little nervous.
Yeah, you gotta have the confidence of the drivers around you to be able to have them work with you and keep you up at the front. Right now, Germ, 4th truck on that inside line. Boy, is that Nafsker getting a shove from Joe DeSpirito.
Oh, it was Grant Wesley moving from the outside, from the top to the middle there, and that was really an aggressive move there. But now Grant Wesley in the middle there, upside Jessica Shelton on the inside there.
Greg Palmer to his outside of that 3-wide formation in the 22. He's got Curlin Hurst offering the drafting help to him. Terry Bombard is the one behind the bright yellow 88 of Grant Wesley in the middle line. And then on the inside line, Jessica Shelton has the 80 of Milt Surratt behind her. She is tailing the 26 of Billy Elliser. So 3 wide position now is going to be somewhere roughly in the 9th, 10th position. And now it's going to be up at the front. Look at this. DeSpirito to the bottom on Nafsker. Prime and Cannon trying to lead the top side. How about 3 wide all the way from the front to the back?
Oh yeah, now is when you start getting really nervous.
That's Andrew Miller that is pushing Joe DeSpirito on that inside line, and you saw the big wiggle by the 616 of Jerm Lewis there through 3 and 4. Having a little bit of difficulty pinning that truck down on the bottom. Going to get a nice run here to the start-finish line. Might be able to help push that inside line, but right now, neither the inside, outside, or midline getting much of an advantage. They kind of stayed dead even, but I do not want to be Tim Nafsker in this situation because he's getting crowded on both sides. Same for Paglia, same for Bobby Farrell, all in that middle lane.
It's getting really hard to breathe up here, and that's just because my heart's racing with looking at this type of racing up here. The 15 of Sean Prime got a little bit clear, and they're trying to come down from that 3rd lane here. But man, this is getting intense.
Well, you got to have confidence in your spotter when he clears you at a super speedway, and Dave Cannon just barely, his back bumper cleared the front nose of the 088 of Tim Nafsker. He and Prime now.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
there we
Greg
go.
Palmer.
There we go.
And he's going to catch air. Bobby Farrell is involved, and it's the big one.
Yes,
oh,
Shelton
my
involved.
Gosh. Schilling's up and over.
The 28 to 92-17.
Track is littered with trucks all the way from the start-finish line to the entrance to turn 1.
Richard Martin.
And there's still smoke up in the middle of 1 and 2. Pat McCarskey involved. Tom Dixon smoking.
That was pretty much 3/4 of the field.
Yeah, at least 75% of the field for sure.
Yeah,
Ryan Schilling, I'm surprised that truck is still running and not smoking after he took a bit of a tumble past the start-finish line. And
well, some of these trucks do still look pretty good and not that damaged.
I would say the 55 of Ken Roberts that we saw there might have been the last truck to get through without any contact in this one. And you just got the feeling there that 3 wide all the way back through the pack, something was going to have to give. A mistake was going to be made. It was going to have catastrophic results. And I don't know what it is necessarily about this track. I'd love to find out from the drivers if they have any idea of what it is. but it seems like a lot of the cautions we've seen here this season have occurred just off the tri-oval and coming to the start-finish line.
I'm looking at it right now. Greg Palmer, it starts with him. He wanted to come back to the middle lane, but there was a truck there right when he made the move, and they got together, and it just was all heck breaking loose after it. That was the 28 of Mark Paglia. Mark Paglia was there when the 22 tried to come back down, and it was that was it. It was on after that.
Well, find your favorite driver, see if they made it through the wreck. We're going to show you several different angles, several different replays of the second caution of the night. And I have a feeling that if we kind of did what NASCAR did and had
Oh
that
my
graphic of who was
gosh.
involved in the wreck, we probably wouldn't be able to fit it all on the screen.
No, we would show you who weren't in the wreck.
There you go. Which
Look
would probably be about 10 drivers.
If you haven't picked somebody yet, look at Josh Metallic. Look from his roof cam and just watch that.
Take a look at that. Want to highlight a couple of drivers that took some wild rides. We saw there Greg Palmer catching some air. Pretty certain that it was the 4 of Brian Schilling that I saw go up and over. We'll try and see what happened to him. Brian Schilling here tonight, I believe, started shotgun on the field. So he didn't have the benefit of track position at the very get-go of this thing. And then gave up track position to make a pit stop under yellow. Oh, he got shot from behind by Tom Dixon. That's why Dixon's car or truck was smoking. There's Surratt. Jeremy Jeffrey's going to be able to snake his way through. McClure was involved. Godfrey was involved. Like you said, it could be a lot easier if we went back and named off the drivers that were not involved in the wreck than the drivers that were collected. Take that onboard you were talking about with the 39 of Josh Metallic. I don't know. Metallic, last couple of weeks, he's kind of been Mr. of wreck avoidance because I believe it was either last week or the week before he ended up avoiding a big wreck that took place around this same vicinity of the racetrack.
Oh yeah, just watch. That was wreck avoidance pro.
There it is from the Geico.
Plus a little bit of
Chevrolet.
a little bit of luck involved.
Wow. Nearly got swept up there with Mark Paglia. That is a heck of a job there by the defending champion of the series. Another driver I want to take a look at here. It looked like he was able to snake his way through. Is the Oreo Chevrolet of Jeremy Jeffries. It was quite a ways back here too, so plenty of time to react, but not a lot of space to be able to maneuver with trucks littering the entirety of the front stretch going into turn 1.
Well, I'll definitely tell you one thing for sure. If this had realistic damage models with Gabriel on the racetrack, this race would be under the red flag.
This race runs with moderate damage, but very realistic damage. I think we probably would have only half the field still on the racetrack.
Oh no, we'd probably have like 6-7 cars at most competitive.
Well, it looks like, at least to this point in time, none of the drivers involved in this huge wreck have gone to the garage area. They're trying to get repairs done and return back to the racetrack. I think a big part of that is because it was such a big wreck, a lot of drivers have the mentality of, I wasn't the only one that got damaged, so maybe my damage isn't as bad as some of the others, and if I'm at least out there and able to run ahead of them, that's positions that I gain on the racetrack. If I go back to the garage area, I'm waving the proverbial white flag of surrender and giving up those points to those particular trucks.
Well, Grant Wesley was another truck that made great moves to avoid that accident.
Subsequently, he's going to be up in the 5th position for this upcoming restart. And point of note, everybody came down pit road under this second caution of the day. So, if we're kind of looking at the fuel mileage of when we could next expect these drivers down pit lane, at least under green flag conditions, we'd be looking somewhere in the range of lap 35 to 37 if we indeed get the 1 to green signal this next time by.
It's a little after halfway or just about around it.
Just around it indeed. So Nafsker's going to be the leader. He won the battle off pit road. Metallic will be in second. Sean Prime third. Dave Cannon in fourth. Grant Wesley lines up fifth. Joe DeSpirito will be sixth. And Andrew Miller, Wiley Coate, Curlin Hurst, and Jerm Lewis. That's going to be the top 10. We took that on board with Jeremy Jeffries. That avoidance and a good pit stop has him restarting in 11th. Ken Roberts in 12th. Richard Martin 13th. Rodney Sullins in 14th. And Donnie Garrett is going to complete the top 15. We've had a couple of drivers come back down pit road, top off the fuel tank, including Greg Palmer, who was at the start of that wreck, Doug Cady, Terry Bombard, Wayne Pribnow, Mark Paglia, those drivers all on pit lane. Extended stay for damage repair for Tom Dixon, but he remains on the lead lap and still in this race. So 36 drivers of the original 38 will be getting ready for our second restart of the night here at Talladega Superspeedway.
Now the question's going to be more of how many of those cars that were involved in this accident are going to be up to speed. And, you know, visually, a lot of these trucks don't look all that damaged. A couple of them kind of might have just went for a spin or two, maybe a little bit of cosmetic, but hopefully not engine.
And, you know, there's something about Enter 2003 and its logic as far as the damage that you get that sometimes it just doesn't make sense. You can end up going for a harmless spin in a wreck, maybe have a little bit of front end contact and think, you know what, I'm going to be okay. This thing's still aerodynamically sound. They didn't shut off the engine. You lose the draft, and next thing you know, you're running 5 miles per hour off the pace. Whereas there are other cases where the truck can do a barrel roll and you think, well, I've got roof damage, my day is done, but as long as you're able to stay up in the draft and have somebody pushing you, your truck is still up to speed. Maybe not all that good when it gets out in clean air by itself, but if it's running in a tight draft, it's still up to speed and able to compete up inside of the top 5. So NR is so strange in that regard, and it is going to be interesting based off of some of the hits we saw drivers take there in that big one of who may be the stragglers and who's still going to be okay and still in the hunt for this checkered flag.
Just throw a piece of Bondo tape on it. It'll be all right.
That's right. Lights are out atop that pace truck, so it will make the left-hand turn to pit road. This time it will release these drivers with 50 laps to go in this evening's race. Tim Nafsker going to be the control truck as they'll head down into the restart area and wait for the flagman to give them the all clear to get back to Superspeedway racing. We saw them 3 wide, several rows deep. That is what led to the last caution. So do we go back to 3 wide racing again here, or do we now settle into that strategy of let's all get lined up and kind of ride until green flag pit stop?
I think we'll see 3 wide again, just maybe not right at first. Already a couple of cars switching lanes, trying to go to the outside.
Wiley Coate showing the nose there, that bright green Castrol Dodge.
Cars have just got to be aware of their surroundings. We do have a 3rd lane going in the back towards the rear of the field there.
Tim Nafsker got himself clear for the race lead, jumps up to the top, pick up Metallic, and yeah, a lot of moving and shaking going on back here, mid-pack area. Dalton, Schilling, McClure.
Now I remember last race where every time they would come to lap a car, a wreck would happen. Well, as we kind of figured with the smoke coming out of the engine, Tom Dixon is running roughly 10 miles per hour off the pace by himself. So let's hope that that lap car curse that we had last race doesn't come back for this race.
We ended up seeing as well with the onboard courtesy of Josh Metallic. When Mark Paglia came back across his nose, he took a pretty hard shot with the right front into the outside wall. Looks like right now he is the tail end of this lead pack. We'll see if he's able to hang with him or if he's going to be a bit of a straggler. Yeah, I think he's lost the draft. You can see him back there on the backstretch. That Quality Care Ford F-Series is indeed dropping back. So might add him to the list like Tom Dixon as well.
You talked about 3 wide. And
yep, they're back at it.
Being led by Jerem Lewis, and as you've seen him wiggling, having a hard time keeping that truck pretty straight.
Yeah, wiggling back and forth. That makes it so difficult for a driver behind to be able to line up the bumper, keep the draft tight. So Jeremy Jeffries has his hands full at the moment. Sean Prime saw him, oh yeah, he was side to side warping a few laps ago, and now he's dealing with more connection problems. Got to wonder if that's going to be able to settle out in time. No, he
They
is going
just
to
kicked him
drop to
out
the
of line.
back.
Yep. Yeah.
We doggone jinxed him again. We talked
I,
about his great qualifying position, and now we have this happen, so it's our fault.
I still blame you.
Commentator curse. Well, 288 trucks. We knew eventually they were going to find each other. Both neon green and black. Nafsker's got the 088. Wesley's got the 88. And they're now going to be side by side for this race lead, coming back around to complete lap 19. Who's going to get it? Boy, that was close, but give it to
Definitely
Nafsker.
the middle line, yeah.
It was indeed, but that was a great run there on that inside line for Grant Wesley, and he's getting the heck shoved out of him by the 47 of Andrew Miller.
Yep, one
Whoa.
Chevy, one Toyota, and I'll tell you this. You talked about the three-wide racing, and man, I'm keeping my eye on Jerem Lewis, and he just cannot keep that truck, that truck straight.
But I think I mentioned this last week, and I'll just mention it again this week. The thing I love about this series and these drivers, they had that big wreck that took up about 20-plus drivers, but that didn't scare them. That didn't scare them off of three-wide racing. Green flag drops, they go right back to work.
Yeah, but I think that I think the outside lane is going to really be struggling here.
They're losing spots as we speak with that 616 continuing to kind of weave back and forth, not really being able to get a good handle, not very smooth on his truck is Jerem Lewis. That's holding up that top side with Jeremy Jeffries, Ken Roberts, and others, who almost came down into the passenger side door of Wiley Coat that time off of turn number 2. But heck, back up at the front, it's still dead even between Wesley on the bottom and Nafsker on the top. Neither one's given an inch. Andrew Miller doing a great job behind Wesley. Metallic keeping Nafsker alongside there in the middle line. Might actually see the inside line get the advantage. That is a rare occurrence, especially off the corner.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And unlike the counterpart of iRacing, these trucks don't really have to worry about overheating when you're behind somebody.
Nope, they do not have to worry about that at all. So you can be locked up on the bumper of your partner as long as you want to, and try and keep that momentum pushing forward. As here comes that middle line back again. Nafsker with a big help from both Josh Metallic and Dave Cannon on that top side. Now they're going to get the advantage off of turn 2 and down the back straightaway. So it was a valiant attempt, at least there for a moment by the inside line, but now, as we usually see, that middle line beginning to prevail, and I think the big reason for that is they're gaining a couple more numbers there of drivers that might be giving up on that top line.
That is very true as well. These cars, one Chevy, one Toyota, battling it out. Similar paint schemes almost in a way, like they're out of the same team almost, but just different manufacturers. There, you said Andrew Miller pushing, and what I like about this is the loyalty these drivers have to whatever racing line they're committed to. There has been plenty of times where that 088 could have easily have gone to the inside lane after being pushed clear, and they didn't. And that's something that you would probably really only see on NR 2003 compared to iRacing.
Yeah, we'll go back to that first restart we had. Sean Prime got the big bump from Dave Cannon. Could have easily cleared down to the inside through 1 and 2, but he ran the middle line all the way through that corner to make sure he picked up Cannon and company in that middle line. So you're right. Definitely we see that drivers have loyalty to the drivers that help them in the specific lines to try and move them up towards the front of the field as well. Not a lot of moving of line to line to line to try and pick up spots, just kind of riding and waiting for the momentum to come to them.
Man, I will tell you, I get on the edge of my seat every time I commentate this race with you. I am on edge the entire time. This excitement is what I love about this series, and I know that our fans do too. And these guys, I'm telling you, are not disappointing.
I'll tell you what, we end up seeing this every week with the random qualifying. We end up seeing drivers not necessarily start where they would like to, deep in the field. How about Donnie Garrett here tonight, a third of the way through this race? He started all the way back in the 37th position, and this time by crossing the start-finish line, he is in P8. So good job of avoiding that early wreck and making his way now up into the top 10.
You know, when you said P8, for some reason I thought you were going to say PE, and I have no idea why.
I'm not sure either.
Sure, I'm not sure.
Yeah, now I'm going to have that question stuck in my head and probably not have it answered for the next couple of hours. It's going to drive me crazy. I appreciate that. Middle
You're
line now
you're
gets the
very
advantage through
welcome.
3 and 4. Nafsker going to be clear for that top spot. But we'll see him probably stay up there with Josh Metallic and Dave Cannon, try and help pull that middle line once again. That third lane, we mentioned that it lost numbers. Jeremy Jeffries jumped down to the middle line, but looks like it's Glenn Harris trying to help the 616. Surprisingly, even though there's been about 5-6 trucks that have jumped from the extreme outside line to the middle line, they're still up there around the 14th, 15th position with the leading truck on that outside line, Jerm Lewis. So they are losing positions, but not nearly as rapidly as I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, you'd figure they'd have been real bad. Some of these trucks are kind of just stuck out there because there's not really a line to go down to. And, now we have somebody else who's trying to lead that outside lane that looks to be the number 8.
That is indeed Jeremy Jeffries. So maybe deciding that he needs to be the truck to lead that outside line. Jerm Lewis behind him, Glenn Harris there as well, and that is the 14 of Wayne Pribb now also up on that top side in the 3 wide formation. That's around 8th position on back that this is taking place as the first 3 rows are double filed and 3 wide there with Despirito Martin and Jeremy Jeffries.
Yeah, outside lane beginning to get a little bit more momentum.
So if we're looking for the drivers that were the potential stragglers here in after the incident that took place, bringing out the second caution of the day, the big one, it would appear that really there is only one. Sean Prime, who had the connection problems. We saw him drop to the inside in the back straightaway, but he was not able to latch on to the tail end of the field. Subsequently, he is running all by his lonesome and in danger of maybe going a lap down if we remain under the green flag. Tom Dixon, who we knew was off the pace, he was smoking after getting involved in that big wreck on the front straightaway. He has gone back to the garage area. And Martin Paglia, who I thought was going to lose the draft, he is back up here in this lead group, running currently in the 31st position. So one driver has lost the pack, one driver's in the garage area, and the other driver that looked like he might be in trouble, looks like he is still up to speed now and still has a shot of making some forward progress in this pack.
I agree, 100%. You never know what's going to happen, what kind of damage you get, where you go, but I think Mark's going to probably just ride back there now. I'm not sure the damage he has, but if he's in this pack, he's definitely going to be up to speed. So I feel like he might just ride and try to work his way to the front towards the end of the race.
Coming into tonight, as we mentioned, now 3 different winners in the first 3 races on the season. McClure winning the season opener, Richard Martin winning race 2, and then last week the win going to Rodney Sullins is Curlin Hurst there in the 93 dropping back. Looks like that is by choice. Maybe didn't like what he saw up there in the lead pack. But, I mean, right now, you have to go all the way back to around the 9th position before you find one of those 3 previous race winners. Richard Martin, what do you think? The odds are looking pretty good, at least for the moment, of us going 4 for 4 in different winners on the season.
Oh, somebody pulled out on the back stretch from the line. I didn't really see who that was, but yeah.
That was the 93.
He is he's putting his car in position on the inside lane right there, and he's inside the top 10. So Richard Martin could just be the first official, I guess, multi-time winner if he can get his truck in the right place at the right time.
McClure, he is making some forward progress right now up to the 22nd position. He and Bob Seminara actually working together right now, 21st and 22nd. Both of them ended up being quite a ways back in the starting lineup, and subsequently they have been on an entirely different strategy than the rest of the field in terms of coming down pit lane, topping off the fuel tank, coming to the 1 to green on the last couple of restarts. Obviously, Seminara, the highest in the point standings without a victory, trying to get that first checkered flag of the season, and McClure trying to officially get his 2nd victory on the season, get a little bit of redemption for last week. One thing we want to remind everybody about as well as we close in on halfway here tonight in the 4th race of the 56th season of the RTG Talladega Challenge is next week. We will not be bringing you coverage of race number 5. These drivers will be racing, but we will not be here. We will be back in 2 weeks' time for race number 6, and we will be giving you the recaps of what took place in race 5, as well as bringing you that 6th race on the year. So just let everybody know, if you don't see us live next Thursday night, do not be alarmed. It is planned, but we will be back in 2 weeks' time to continue on this season. As well, Michael, we were double wide. We were 3 wide. Now we've gotten so far into the run, everybody's saying, all right, you know what? Pit stops are coming up. Let's get ourselves single filed out.
Yep, because you've got to get down to the inside lane to make your pit stops. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult, because one wrong move from a middle line turning down, and it could be interesting. And I believe we've got some cars coming
I'm
down
seeing the chat
pit
bar
road.
lighting up quite a bit there.
We've got at least a couple of cars coming down pit road this time.
Nafsker's in, Metallic's in, Cannon is in as well. Donnie Garrett, ooh, someone really smoked the tires back there. I think that was Hagel in, but everybody makes it on safely here for the first pack, so good job on them. Now it turns the race lead over to the multi-time champion, Joe DeSpirito.
And look who's in second place.
Hard to miss that bright neon green number 6 of Wiley coat. They've got Chevrolet, Dodge, Toyota. Right now, your top 3 manufacturers in the top 3 positions, with Grant Wesley in the 88. I would assume that those drivers on the inside line, Andrew Miller, we might see them on pit road this time, but what about Ken Roberts and Rodney Sullins up there in that second lane? Do they stay out an extra lap?
They do. Decent amount of cars come down second time. Oh, Richard Martin off into the grass.
We had a truck get in the wall back there, hit that pit wall area on entrance.
I'm not sure what that's going to do to Richard Martin. If I'm not sure. I don't remember if you were to go off pit road once being on there, if that could be like a commitment violation, and they could give him a 30-second for that.
Yeah, I'm not exactly certain either. I think that if you go off, if you make at least the commitment line, but you go off of pit road into the grass, I think you're fine. I think it's if you miss the commitment cone, go into the grass and come onto pit road for a pit stop, that's when it gives you the 30-second penalty. So he should be okay. It was Makarski, Pat Makarski was the truck that got the blue wall on the entrance to pit lane last time by. Here comes in pack number 3. Ken Roberts, Jessica Shelton, Terry Bombard, Ronnie Sullins, and they're all going to make it on pretty safely.
Bob Seminara, Ron Hagelin, David Cannon, and a couple others stay out an extra lap. I think it's just the 2 of them, or it could be just Bob that stayed out an extra lap by himself.
We'll see who's going to cycle out as the race leader. Right now, it looks like it could be the 2-truck tandem of Joe DeSpirito and Grant Wesley, but obviously we have to wait and see about those other drivers that came onto pit road the lap prior, see where they cycle around. And well, look at this, that 2-truck tandem gonna do nothing against the 3-car tandem of Nafsker, Metallic, and Donnie Garrett. So Nafsker, at least for the time being, looks like he's gonna cycle back out to the top spot.
These 2 up here are not letting there we go, starting to get a little single filed out here. That was a big run there, trying to get single file to get back onto the racetrack, as these cars up ahead are going to fly by. So we're going to have a severely broken up pack here in the second half. Tim Nafsker.
5, 6, 8 trucks up in this lead group right now. Mark Paglia trying to latch onto them, but we'll see if he's going to lose touch and maybe drop back to that second group.
Bob's going to be all by his lonesome coming out, and I'm not too sure where he's going to cycle around in. He's just coming off of pit road now, crossing the line to lead another lap, and there goes everybody.
Well, he led the lap. Got there to the start-finish line off of pit road before Nafsker got there, so Seminara did get that lap-led bonus point, which may have been the strategy for the 7-12, but he is going to be quite a ways back here in the field once everything cycles around. As you can see the miles per hour difference between this lead group and Seminara. Nafsker the leader. Metallic second. Garrett will be third. McClure is now up to 4th, so he must have had a heck of a pit stop. Joe DeSpirito fourth, then Wesley, Wiley Coate, and it looks like, is that Rodney Sullins, I believe? No, Andrew Miller bringing up the last truck in this lead pack. That is first back to ninth.
And Mark Paglia is still just trying to hold on to the 47's draft.
And I don't think they're single file. He's not going to be able to do that, and he may have more trouble because the other pack behind him, Sean Prime, Ken Roberts, they're all single file. So once they catch that 28, they're going to blow his doors off.
Sean Prime just ran his fastest lap of the race, but he's a lap truck, and these guys are using him to their advantage. Going to try to stay single file and run down this front pack. The second pack has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Between 13, almost 14 cars in this pack compared to the front pack, which has, I think, about 8 cars.
But here's the surprising thing. This group that we're looking at with Sean Prime and company, all those trucks ran in the 48 1s to 48 2s. Every truck up in that pack of 8 ran in the 47 9s. So even though they've got less trucks, they're somehow faster.
Nope, Sean Prime just ran 47.8.
47.8 for Prime, and
all this whole second pack just hit the 47s.
Yeah, and the whole first pack only ran the 47.9. So there you go. Maybe it took them that lap there to get organized up, single file, start to get that momentum going. So now the question is, how many laps is it going to take for Sean Prime and company to be able to reel in this top group?
And more importantly, do they have enough gas to make it to the end? 33 laps, roughly. It was about 33 or less when they came down pit road because they came in after halfway.
Well, I can answer you that question. No, they don't have enough fuel to make it. The first drivers hit pit road at the completion of lap 32. Last drivers came to pit lane and Bob Seminara at the completion of lap 34. So the furthest anybody in the field would be able to go here would be to around lap 55, 56. Puts them about 10 laps short of making it to the end. So they've got at least one more pit stop, whether it be under green or under caution, in their future.
Absolutely.
Tim Nafsker, he's been the dominant truck of the night. He qualified on the pole position. He's about to come around and lead his 21st lap of the evening. Grant Wesley led 4 laps. Sean Prime led for 8. 2 laps apiece for Joe DeSpirito and Bob Seminara. And then leading 1 lap here tonight, Ken Roberts and Terry Bombard. If you're just joining us, we've had 2 cautions here this evening. It's taken out 3 drivers, Tom Dixon, Dave Melson, and Bernie Mobbs. We just completed a round of green flag pit stops. Of the 35 drivers still on the track, 34 on the lead lap. Sean Prime is the only truck 1 lap down. He would get a lucky dog if we were to have a caution come out, and we are now basically settled into that.
Someone's slow on the apron. Someone was slow on the apron.
That's Jason Scheck in the 1 truck.
Could he be out of gas or maybe an engine blown?
Well, I'm not certain. He was very slow.
He was coasting, and now he's holding it at about pit road speed.
I think he is out of fuel.
He's holding it at pit road speed, though. He's able to accelerate, unless that's just the display messing with us here. Because look, he was at 40 now. He's sped up to about 60.
Jason Scheck, this is obviously an unscheduled pit stop for the driver of the 1. I did notice, I think he came down with the 3rd group during the pit stop cycle, and he came in, I don't know if it was conservatively or if he...
He's taking it behind the wall.
So he'll finish 35th here tonight. He was very, very slow on pit road entry. I remember seeing that. He was a long ways back from the rest of the drivers he came to pit road with. And unfortunately, something happened to him here, whether it be a mechanical, whether it may be him running out of fuel, or maybe just calling it a night. It's going to put him back in the garage area and leave us with 34 trucks left to finish out this race. And I've been watching the interval here, Michael.
I was just about to say the same thing.
We were about 5 seconds separation from Sean Prime, Ken Roberts and company, up to race leader Tim Nafsker. When we last checked, it's now been cut down to just about 4 seconds. So they are slowly reeling in that lead group. And let's remember, Sean Prime is a lap machine, but he's got a fast enough truck that he's being able to head the second group.
Yeah, it was about 4.1 last time by. This time by it was 4.2. Now as they cross the line again, we'll see what it is as they come across the line. It's 4.4. So starting to get a little broken up back there. As you can see in the back half of this field, there's Jeremy Jeffries and others. They're getting racy. And I don't really think they should be getting racy right now.
Greg Palmer there as well with Jeremy Jeffries, who now tucks back up in front of, I believe that was the 9 of Chris Elliott. New colors on that Doritos Dodge. Ooh, moving up there. There is no side draft in NR, but drivers like to think there is. As now Shelton's going to pull down to the inside there with Jeremy Jeffries, and
I guess they've given up on trying to catch the front pack.
that's what I was just wondering. I mean, is this driver's basically saying, all right, we're not making any progress. Let's start battling here in this second group and doing what we've heard drivers kind of describe, setting themselves up position-wise for that final pit stop, as we had another truck slow there on the front straightaway. It looked like that was the 616 of Jerm Lewis.
Let's see if that is indeed the case here. He is down the back straightaway by himself.
He was down below the yellow line there, exiting the tri-oval, so either he had his hands full or something. I don't know what it was. Sean Prime just got shuffled out of the top spot of this second group, by the way. Now Richard Martin's going to take the helm.
Yeah, but they're still double file, and if they're probably roughly, 5 seconds now back again from the front pack.
Oh,
Caution is out. Oh, on the front straightaway.
That's Cy Jones. Oh, wow. Oh, he almost.
Doug Caddy as well back here.
Oh, that is Doug Caddy. My apologies. I'm so used to Cy Jones being the 7 truck, which he is, but
that's the 007.
That's the 007.
And we're not talking James Bond, unless he has a scheme.
That's copyright strike. Anyway, let's go back and see what happened. As
these guys race back to the line still here. This is going to bring everybody back together, but I don't think that this will put them in the set. Do you think it'll put them in the window?
Ooh, it's
46
close.
of 66.
It's close.
That's 20 laps.
Put it this way. It is so close, I think you're going to see a lot of your race leaders come down pit lane at the 1 to green, just to make absolutely certain.
21
Richard
laps
Martin.
to go
Make that
right
Bob
now.
Dixon. Dixon was the one that got spun by Bob Seminara. He caught some air, too, as Pat McCarskey and Doug Cady know where to go. And Cady almost got that thing wound up in time and almost avoided the inside wall, but just caught it with the left rear of his number 7. Here's another look at it. I said this last week. It amazes me just how easily these trucks catch air when they're spun around.
Absolutely. I mean, it just seems like it's so easy at Talladega. You know, you spin around, the air just can go both ways, up and down, and it just lifts the back of the truck up.
Caution out for the 3rd time here tonight, and as you alluded to, this puts everybody back together here.
And
what will
just
be
barely
a restart
in a
with
window.
About 20 to go. We are right on the cusp for sure. This is more than likely going to be the last time that we'll see everybody down pit lane here. And this might be a very important, this could be the proverbial money stop right here. So let's follow this battle with Metallic and Nafsker, Donnie Garrett, Chuck McClure, Joe DeSpirito. That was the top 5 coming down pit lane. Will that be the top 5 leaving pit road? Got to hit your marks. Can't make a mistake. It's up to the pit crew to do their job. Looks like it's fuel only for Tim Nafsker. No tires being taken for the pole sitter. Gonna be honest, I like that call.
Fuel only.
Spirito got out 2nd, Metallic, Garrett, and I believe that is McClure, the top 5. I love that call. I'll tell you why. Because there is a possibility, if you take on tires, that your pit crew could make a mistake And if they make a mistake, that's going to cost you time and might cost you positions. If you just fuel up the car, you eliminate that scenario.
Well, there's always a chance that that your pit crew can make a mistake, even with fueling up the car, but it's more likely for them to do it with tires. So yes, Seth, you are correct. And as you see, we've got the stragglers up here, right here, including Bob Seminara and others up here as well. Wayne Pribnow, Cy Jones stay out to lead a lap. Sean Prime really wants the lucky dog, and I think he's gonna get it. Luckily, he was only one lap down.
Only truck a lap down. 2 drivers, if necessary, get free passes under each caution, but Prime being the only one that was off the lead lap, gets the free pass. He'll be back on the lead lap, but we saw there with that run just after the pit stops, he may be dealing with connection problems, but he's still got a truck fast enough to be up there and battling, so we may end up seeing him up in the closing stages before all is said and done. Got drivers that'll be coming pit road this second lap of caution. Since we had Sean Prime a lap down, we'll probably have another lap of caution added on as well. So we are going to step aside for a quick commercial break. You will see everything side by side, and we will bring you back for potentially the run to the finish here. Could be a doozy of a fuel mileage race at Talladega. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to live action after this.
Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCars. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Foyt, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and Teague. You can expect high speeds, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you can only get in an IndyCar. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over the world take the track. Dark Horse IndyCar drivers, start your engine. Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCars. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Foyt, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and Teague. You can expect high speeds, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you can only get in an IndyCar. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over the world take the track. Dark Horse IndyCar drivers, start your engine.
Of chocolate.
Going back, green flag racing here as the field is doubled up. Saw Sean Prime go around and get his lap back. So we will have 34 trucks remaining to battle it out for the checkered flag, 4th checkered flag of the season. Tim Nafsker will be the one to lead us back to green. He's looking to go coast to coast here tonight, pole to win. He'll have Joe DeSpirito to his outside. Josh Metallic, the defending champion, lines up in 3rd. Donnie Garrett 4th. Chuck McClure will be 5th. He'll have Grant Wesley to his outside in 6th. Andrew Miller's been a mainstay inside the top 10 all night. He lines up in 7th. Richard Martin 8th, Wiley Coaten 9th, and Jessica Shelton is going to complete the top 10. Appreciate everybody tuning in here tonight to the 4th race of the 56th season of the RTG Talladega Challenge. Love to see all the interaction in the YouTube chat. Got some fans there in the chat for Sean Prime, Grant Wesley, Jessica Shelton. No Michael Norman fans in the chat though, so we'll work on that, I guess.
It's okay. Those don't exist.
Nope, they don't. There's a fan club of 1, and I don't even know who that member is.
Me neither. So.
Well, it's a mystery. Green flights can come out here if my calculations are correct, with 17 laps remaining here tonight. So that is indeed easily within the window for these drivers to make it the rest of the way on what they've got in the tank. So we've entered into that point, Michael, of you've got what you've got. Now it's up to the driver to position himself and his truck in the right spot to be able to win this race. And again, we have to keep talking about this because it's happened the last 2 weeks in a row. We may not necessarily be racing towards the checkered flag at the completion of lap 66. We may be looking at something as soon as the completion of lap 63 and the race ending under caution as, man, Josh Metallic, Chuck McClure, really squirrely there on that inside line.
Yeah, and you've got to push for it. It's unfortunately broken up the inside lane, so I don't see Nafsker actually being able to hold the lead here until that lane gets going again. But you've got to be ready. You've got to be ready for that bump.
Spirito is gone. He's to the lead. Donnie Garrett moves to second. Wesley clears for third. And DMAR, Richard Martin now looks like he's going to be clear on the top side for the 4th position. Shelton looking to follow suit. She's now alongside Nafsker for 5th.
Outside lane getting a good run. Now the 47 of Andrew Miller gets right behind Shelton. Nafsker trying to pull up, break a little bit of the draft.
Donnie Garrett, as we mentioned, started this race deep in the field, 37th. If he were to win here tonight, I believe so far this season, he would be the driver furthest back to have won in contact nearly there between Shelton and Grant Wesley off of turn number 2 as Shelton got really tight off the corner.
That's gonna mess up the inside lane's momentum there, but Shelton and Wesley are no strangers to racing around each other, so that could have been just a simple, hey, guess what, I'm right here, tap.
I think these drivers don't realize what portion of the race we've entered into. We saw them 3 wide, 7 rows deep, giving room, being able to complete 5, 6, 7 laps under green flag conditions. Now all that space, all that room we saw given the first half of this race, it's gone.
Chris Elliott making his way up here too. But we haven't really talked about much.
That's the 6th truck on that outside line. Great performance for him. You've got Rodney Sullins right behind him as well. Doritos and Red Hots. Man, that's a combination I could get behind.
Yeah. Have you tried that new Mountain Dew flavor? Hot Cheetos or something like that?
I have
Flamin'
not.
Hot Cheeto Mountain Dew. I've heard it's very spicy.
I'm probably going to get a lot of hate in the chat, but I have actually never had Mountain Dew in my life.
I mean, it's fair. Also, have you checked the chat again?
That is a lie, so we will move on to
Yeah.
Michael Norman. Commentary is the great. We found the one fan. We found the one fan in the Michael Norman fan club. The mystery is solved.
Right.
One thing that is not a mystery is why is Joe DeSpirito up at the front of the field? Multi-time champion in the Talladega Challenge Series. We have seen him win multiple races season after season. Little bit surprised that we haven't seen him running consistently up in the lead in the first 3 races on the year, but hey, better late than never, and DeSpirito looking to see if he can lock himself up a spot in the playoffs here in race number 4. Joe coming into this race tied for 13th in the points. I think this is maybe the furthest back in my recollection I've ever seen him in the point stands. The start to the year has been rather slow for the 24 truck.
You know, you don't want to. It says one as I want to say it was Chuck McClure who said it. You don't want to peak too early. So you take the races as you get them. You try to set your car up to be in the right spot. And sometimes it doesn't happen the way you want to. Ooh, a car got on the apron there. I believe that was Shelton, just clipped the apron a little bit entering the corner there. But, you want to set your truck up to be in the right spot, avoid the wrecks, and pick the right lanes. And they're getting really, really, really racy in the back half of this field.
Really squirrely on the inside line too, and I have to wonder, we really haven't seen anybody have issues with that inside line in the early and midway portions of this race. Remember what I said, most drivers when they came down pit road that last time opted to do fuel only. So they were out there on about 10 lap old tires, and so I wonder if the fact they didn't take on fresh rubber, that little bit of grip they're lacking, is why we saw Shelton nearly in trouble right there, why we saw Josh Metallic have his left sides hit that yellow line and nearly cause an issue there on that last restart. I'm wondering if maybe that's why drivers all of a sudden the handling seemed to be going away on their trucks.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's hard to comprehend why handling would be different on a super speedway racetrack like this, but at the same time, you got to have, well, if you have cleaner tires, clean, fresh tires, you're able to make more moves without your truck getting upset.
Take a look at the drivers we've got up here right now with a shot inside of our top 5, 6 to have an opportunity to pick up a checkered flag here for the first time this season. We already mentioned about Joe DeSpirito outside the top 10 of the points, 13th coming into this race. Donnie Garrett right there in the 77 runs second. He's 12th in points. Grant Wesley, who only made his first start officially of the season last week. Subsequently, he currently comes into this race 32nd in points. Leapfrog Richard Martin, he ended up picking up a victory a couple of weeks ago, but then you drop back to Andrew Miller. Miller comes into this race 38th in points, and just behind him, you've got Chris Elliott, who comes into this race 11th in points. So there's a lot of drivers here that all come into this race outside the top 10 in the standings that by the time we end up having our next broadcast for this series in 2 weeks' time, we could be talking about them in the conversation of a playoff contender.
Back in the back half of the field hill here, Milt Surratt is getting bullied around here as these cars are just finding every which way they can go to pick a lane to try to drive up towards the front. There was some contact there at the start-finish line last time around.
Speaking up towards the front, remember we saw Nafsker drop back from the lead when he lost his help in Metallic and McClure. Well, now they've jumped up to the top side, put Andrew Miller in the middle 3 wide. They'll continue to stay up there alongside Jeremy Jeffries. Meanwhile, Josh Metallic, he's got Wiley Coe on the bottom. They pick up Rodney Sullen, so 2 lanes moving on top and bottom.
Donnie Garrett going to challenge for the lead. They got around Joe DeSpirito. And now the outside lane's going to move. Here comes Rodney Sullins.
Nature Boy goes to the point in that number 77 Chevrolet Silverado. Grant Wesley says, there you go. I helped you get the lead. Now I want it. Big block. And now Wesley.
That's going to be big.
Oh,
that is going to be big. A big time right there.
Oh, gosh. Oh, they're still wrecking. Dave Cannon up into Billy Elliser. More trucks going to get collected over in turn 4. Cy Jones, John Godfrey, Andrew Miller.
This is bigger than the first wreck, or the
Prime
first big one.
is involved. Oh, my goodness. Oh, they're still wrecking through the tri-oval.
Oh, yeah.
Ed Harris is through the grass. There's more trucks. Terry Bombard.
I don't even see Jessica Shelton. I think she might have been involved.
Well, you said it was big. You didn't say it was long. That stretched from, what, turn 3 all the way over to the entrance of the tri-oval.
Oh, yeah, Jessica Shelton was involved and is already out of her truck.
Cannon's already in the garage area. Prime's already in the garage area. Jeremy Jeffries already in the garage area. These are some big names that we saw up in the top 10 just a lap ago.
Richard Martin involved again.
Hagelin's involved. A lot of damage on the back end of his truck. I think it's going to be another one of those, Michael, of easier to name off who wasn't involved and who was. 2 big incidents here tonight.
Grant Wesley, I think, was definitely involved in that. He was the start of it, actually. So he got blocked by the 77, so I'm not too sure how that will be called, as I'm not too familiar with the rules on blocking in this series. But it was, and, we talked the 8 car. Holy moly, the 8 car. Jeremy Jeffries was inside the catch fence, stuck in the catch fence.
Yes, he was. We'll be
Got
seeing that here in a
Godfrey.
moment.
There was a follow-up wreck up here, and I want to know what exactly happened after this first wreck. Oh, I see what happened here. It was 3 wide. The 24 bounced off the apron up into the 43, and there was a whole secondary wreck. Chris Elliott involved in it as well, and it was calamity.
Saw the first incident here. Here's incident number 2 with Dave Cannon and company. Now, Cannon's up on the top side here. He just gets clipped by Jeremy Jeffries in the grass. Truck overcorrects right into the path of Billy Elliser. There's Hagelin involved. Prime further back. Then we're going to look further up at the incident you were talking about. Another truck go up and over, I believe. The 28 of Mark Paglia. Wow.
I'm just trying to see who's left here.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trucks. 9, 10, maybe you're brought between 11 to 12 trucks left and that weren't involved in here. And the biggest name are the two out of the 3 winners here, and that's where Rodney Sullins and Chuck McClure. They both made it through that wreck.
Karski, Farrell, Katie, Coates, Paglia. I mean, it's a super long list. Greg Palmer was in it.
I think that
crazy.
that Dale Jarrett throwback scheme of the 28 car, that's I think twice this race now he was flipped over on his roof.
So we had, what, about 4 wrecks from turn 3 over to the middle of the tri-oval.
Even to the start-finish line.
Yeah. Boy, there was some good avoidances there as well, though. And I think we're going to take an onboard with the 80 of Milt Surratt, who was pretty much right behind all of this. He got a front row seat of everything that took place. And I believe he got through every single incident without any contact. So let's take an onboard with that True Value Chevrolet.
As he sees it, the wreck starts happening, he gets on the brakes. I mean, wow, his view of all the cars hitting the fence, and then the secondary wreck afterwards. You know,
all the smoke. I mean, how do you pick where to go?
Yeah, it's hard to see unless he's one of the drivers that races with smoke off. For us, smoke's on, but you never know what it's like for the driver himself.
To give you an idea of the job he did right there, he was 30th the time he crossed the line prior to that wreck. By the time he's 11th when he comes back to the start-finish line. That's 19 spots right there, folks, that he picked up in avoiding all that carnage.
11th, yep, he's up to 11th and has a decent shot at trying to get the win.
Yeah, no contact,
Ooh,
truck's still in one piece.
And speaking of that, we're on 61 to 66 now. If these cars run anywhere from 2, possibly 3 more laps, we're going to be getting an inside 5 laps to go restart. So no matter what happens after that, the next flag will end the race, whether that be the caution or the checkered flag.
You asked the question about the block there by Donnie Garrett leading to the spin by Grant Wesley. Obviously, at least at this point in time, Donnie Garrett is still the race leader, but we ended up seeing, going back to last week, what was called jump restart, lost Chuck McClure the race win, and we'll have to see if maybe post-race, if admins go back, look and see if the 77's block on the 88 was responsible for bringing the yellow flag out or not. So all I can say, folks, is we will give you all the information that we have available to us here tonight as to who the race winner is, but in 2 weeks' time, we may end up giving you an entirely different story, much like we did in the pre-race here this evening.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to keep updated on that one, as coming to 5 laps to go this time by. We'll see what the pace truck lights are. There's not really anybody a lap down So it could be more of a quick yellow in a way. And it looks like the lights did go off.
They did indeed. So we're going to be coming back to green.
4 to go.
That's right. So theoretically, yeah, next flag's going to end the race at that point in time.
If
Next
I was
race would end under
Donnie,
yellow if we get a caution.
If I was Donnie Garrett, I would have Chuck McClure give me one heck of a push, and I would try to get up to the outside and go and run with that 24 car. I mean, yeah, the inside lane's good to go, but we've seen the outside lane go. So if the 24 or if the 77 can get clear of the 24, at least by the back straightaway, he should move up and just try to block as much as he can, because he knows that the next flag is going to end the race.
Well, let's set him up for what's going to be the final restart of the night. Garrett will be the leader. Despirito second. McClure in third. Rodney Sullins in fourth. Josh Metallic fifth. Tim Nafsker sixth. Brian Schilling, yes, the Brian Schilling that was barrel rolling across the start-finish line back around lap 8. He's now up inside the top 10 and 7th. Ken Robertson 8th. Bob Seminaro will be 9th, and Curlin Hurst is going to complete the top 10. Oh, McClure blew up.
Oh, man.
Was going to restart in the third position.
And that's going to add another lap to this caution. So now we're going to have 3 laps to go.
Wow. Tried to get that thing pulled down below the yellow line to avoid the caution coming back out, but unable to do so. So to your point, add another lap of yellow on. Going to be even less laps for drivers outside the top 5 to be able to try and make a charge for this win.
And Donnie Garrett probably has a little bit of a smile on his face now, knowing that they're going to run at least one more lap under yellow.
Yeah, run it under pacing. You don't have to defend. Let's give you the rest of the lineup here, at least back through the top 20. Milt Surratt will now be moving up into the top 10 due to McClure's mechanical issue. Bob Dixon will move up to 11th, Bobby Farrell 12th, Doug Cady 13th, Jerm Lewis 14th, Chris Elliott will be 15th with John Godfrey, Wayne Primnow, Pat McCarskey, Mark Paglia, and Glenn Harris. That will complete the top 20, and lights are still on atop the pace truck.
Wow. If the 17 blowing up, I mean, if they don't go out this time, that just gave the win to Donnie.
Well, if they do go out, that means we're going to have an in-regulation green-white checkered finish here at Talladega. Which means that if they are able to make it around to the white flag, doesn't matter if a wreck takes place, they will race back to the caution. I'm trying to figure out why that extra lap would have been added on there, though. It makes sense to me with the truck blowing up on the racing surface that they would throw the caution and add the extra lap.
The lights didn't come on until he was already down off the racing surface. So I'm not sure if that could have been an admin thrown caution to extend it, or if it was in game. But I mean, if it was an admin, I thought for sure the lights would have went out.
Yeah, I would have thought so too, because there was nobody even a lap down when that last caution came out, so wouldn't have had to add that extra lap on of pacing. So, boy, this, again, got to make that smile a little bit bigger on the face of Donnie Garrett, because as mentioned, every lap that you complete here under pacing is one less lap that he has to worry about defending up to speed, potentially for this race win. What about the motivation for Rodney Sullins there in that third position? He was going to restart back in 5th, but because of McClure having that problem, the entire inside line's going to move up a spot. Rodney last week finished 2nd place. Subsequently, based off of the McClure EOL, he ended up winning, but there's got to be some motivation. It's got to be obviously a lot of pleasure in the fact that you now are in position to clinch a playoff spot, but you want to go out there and you want to leave no doubts in anybody's mind. You want to be that first back to the checkered flag. So, maybe his strategy changed up a little bit here this week with the fact that having that win in the bank, he can be a little bit more aggressive, trying to get win number 2 in back-to-back weeks.
It's very much possible. He's sitting out right there. He got one win handed to him because of a penalty. And now he wants to go out and try to earn, and I guess you could say actually earned the win this time around. But he's got a lot of hungry trucks around him that want that same thing. And we are going to have a green-white checkered finish.
Well, I think it's only apropos to say this phrase in the case of Rodney Sullivan, since the guy dubbed the nickname the Nature Boy is currently in this race. To be the man, you got to beat the man. So that's what everybody's got to do right now, with that 77 going to be the one to lead us back to green.
Absolutely.
So it will be a green-white checkered finish. I'm just going to let everybody know, if a caution comes out, if a wreck takes place, even if it's on the 2-to-go lap, we will be staying with the race leaders. We will go back post-race and look at the incident that brought out the caution. But when we race back to the start-finish line, it is proverbially the race for the win. So we will stay with the race leaders all the way up to that point to see who's going to be picking up the 4th checkered flag on the season.
Seth, I got to ask you, who are you going for, man, if you had to pick somebody?
Oh, gosh. Well, Nafsker's had the strongest truck of the night, but I think he's pinned down that inside line. I'm going to go with the 24. Josh Metallic has seemed to be one of the best pushers on restarts all night long. I think the 24 is going to benefit. Give me Despirito.
Alrighty. So we're getting set. 2 laps to go. The next flag is going to end the race. I don't know. I might have to go with that 088. He seems to be fast, and he's led to pretty much the most laps here. But here we go, Seth. Green flag is back out.
Green flag is out.
Oh, the
for
24
the
got a
final
great
time
jump.
tonight.
24 got a great jump. He
Got a
timed
good
that
jump,
perfectly.
but he's separated away from the 39. I don't think he's clear on the 77 here through 1 and 2.
Outside lane slightly more broken up, but they're quickly trying to come back together. Inside lane's almost non-existent.
Bush is going to come to shove here down the back straightaway, both figuratively and literally. You will see no space between bumpers here. They are going to chain bump all the way down the back straightaway. Despirito now might be clear from the top position he is. Now does he drop to the bottom or stay in the middle? Does Metallic try and make it 3 wide, or does somebody behind him do that?
They're too separated. The 77 and the 38 are too far separated. The outside lane's going to get the run, and it's going to be Despirito that's going to have the leaders. They're coming to the white flag.
Oh, they're not going to make it. That's going to be a caution. The caution is going to come out, and they are going to come to the start-finish line, and the white flag caution combo in the hands of the flagman. Joe Despirito is going to pick up his first win of the season. I thought they might be able to hang on to it there through the trial. They were beating and banging, but they just couldn't.
I was just about to say they're going to end this under the green flag, right as you said, oh, they were wrecking.
And this reminds me an awful lot of, what was it, the season opener, when Chuck McClure ended up winning that race. The timing of the caution when they were there through the trial, just not enough time for anybody. Second place on back to be able to generate enough momentum to challenge the 24. So the caution, very timely for Joe Despirito to pick up his first win of the season.
It was a bunch of Dodges that started this wreck. It was the Zero car, or the Zero truck, that was putting a block on Bob Dixon. Bob Dixon went to move back up and just moved up a little too much and clipped the 6 machine. And then all heck broke loose afterwards.
Pace truck going to pick up Joe Despirito there off of turn number 4. And he will lead the back at about 70 miles per hour to the start-finish line. Joe Despirito mentioned about the slow start that the multi-time champion has been on this season. Came into this race tied for 13th in points. He has a top 5 finish a couple of weeks ago, but his other 2 finishes outside the top 20 and 21st and 23rd. It's not going to matter here tonight. Checkbox winning a race this season for Joe Despirito as he takes the checkered flag here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway, and subsequently may have locked himself up a spot in this season's playoffs.
Oh, and there he goes. Post-race celebrations already beginning, so a good win on Joe Despirito.
Stay with him as he comes around to do his burnouts on the front straightaway, and then we will look back at what brought out the caution to end this race. Congratulatory bumps from John Godfrey, Grant Wesley in the 88 pulls alongside. I don't off the top of my head remember how many championships Joe DeSpirito has. I know he has at least 3, may have 4. But I mean, look at the star-studded group that we've got already that have locked up playoff positions at this point in time with winning races. McClure, a former champion. Joe DeSpirito tonight, a former champion. Richard Martin, Rodney Sullins. I mean, these are guys that I think once the green flag drops to start the playoffs, this is going to be a heck of a show with these guys. And that only, at least at this point in time, comprises 40% of our playoff field.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. I'll tell you that much. It's going to be a heck of a playoffs.
Joe DeSpirito gonna get to burn it down here tonight in that black and neon green Exalta Chevrolet Silverado in front of the fans at Talladega Superspeedway. And as he continues his celebration, we're gonna now go back and see what that wreck was that put us under the caution, coming back to the white flag, ending this race under yellow for the 3rd straight week. And the moment we'll show you your full finishing results and be talking to our podium drivers here tonight. Matter of fact, as we show this replay, we're going to, real quickly, because we didn't get to, we got to talk to him last week, but we didn't get to talk to him as a race winner. Let's see if we can talk with Rodney Sullins real quick, and then we'll get to the top 3 finishers here in tonight's race. We'll see if we have Rodney available. I believe we do. Hey, Rodney, it's Michael and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, guys, what's up?
Well, man, I mean, obviously, we weren't able to talk to you under the race conditions, but wanted to get the opportunity to talk to you here tonight based off of what we learned last week, you being the winner of last week's race. So wanted to do a victory lane interview with you. Obviously, a lot of stuff taking place during this week. The EOL call, sending the 17 to the back. You get that checkered flag and lock up a playoff position. So it kind of looked like with that little bit of added confidence from last week, almost had a shot to win this one here tonight as well.
Yeah, I had a good position there on that restart. I thought Donnie was going to get a start and probably move up into the second line like most everybody do. So I liked where I was at because I had some good trucks behind me. But accident, I guess the yellow flew for something happened. I don't really know. And kind of ended that opportunity. But it's a good run. I started 33rd, 36, and 36 in the past few weeks. So I'll take this.
And you went from having 0 wins last week when you were talking to us to now this week you have 1 win under your belt and a playoff position right now. Is that a stress reliever to you, or do you still want to kind of go out there and see if you can quote earn the win racing rather than having it given to you from a penalty?
Well, if you remember, I don't know if you remember last week, I mentioned that I'm missing next week's race. So I've got to get a win at some point. So I'll take it every how I can get it. I mean, I managed to finish second. I hate it for Chuck. But I was in position if something happened, maybe to take advantage of that. Yes, I want to win one. I won a race last year outright. I'd like to still do it again this season. But hey, when you're racing against the talent that's running around here, you'll take it ever how you can get it. But it's nice to be locked into the chase. I just got to keep myself in the top 20.
Absolutely. Well, you came into this race as the points leader. Another solid outing here tonight in 4th place. So it's certainly looking like that top 20 finish going to be pretty easy for you to be able to do. Still got a bunch of this regular season to go, but looking like the outlook pretty good here for this 38 truck. Rodney, once again, congratulations on that victory last week and the good run here tonight. And we'll let you do some thank you spots and shout outs before we let you go.
Hey, 10-4, guys. Thank you, Seth, Michael, again for you guys, your broadcasting. It's great. I love watching it. Cannon and Prime at Rolling Thunder, and everybody here at Rolling Thunder. Appreciate everything that goes on. It's a great group. It's awesome. Love watching you guys. Black Rifle Coffee, Red Hots, the Rozzy Chairs, and Rock and Brews Restaurants, and my family for letting me do it. Thank you guys. I can't wait to sit back and watch it tonight. Appreciate you.
As Rodney Sullins, he was your winner last week. Gets a fourth place run here tonight, so another consistent finish for the 38 truck. And based off of live scoring, it's still going to be your points leader heading into next week. So congratulations on that, Rodney. And hopefully we'll talk to you in a couple weeks' time when we're back here broadcasting the Tally Challenge.
Yes, sir. Hope so. Thanks, guys.
All right, we're showing you now your full finish results from tonight's event. Joe DeSpirito, Donnie Garrett, Josh Metallic. They're the three we'll be interviewing from tonight's performances. Rodney Sullins, who we just talked to, brings it home fourth. And Brian Schilling, this is why you just keep on a plug-in, even if you run into issues at a super speedway. Because Schilling, he was barrel rolling in the early stages of this race, and he's going to salvage a top 5 run. Nafsker, the pole sitter, finishes 6th. Bob Seminara, 7th. Then Ken Roberts, Milt Surratt, and Curlin Hurst, another great run for that 93. He's going to bring it home inside of the top 10. We'll show you the rest of the finishing results here. A number of drivers back in the garage area in the closing stages as we worked 5 cautions during the course of this race. And now let's talk with some of the drivers that finished up there inside of the podium here tonight and begin with the defending champion of the series, Josh Metallic. Hey, Josh, Michael had Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
I do.
Man, I'll tell you what, we've seen this 39 truck be consistent week in, week out up inside the top 10, but now up inside the podium here tonight, obviously coming into this season with a little bit of pressure, defending champion of the series, but looks like no doubt about it, the consistency's there in this 39. What little more did you need to be able to get him? And if you had had that extra 2.66 miles, if we had gotten to the line, had the caution come out after and still been racing back to not the white flag, but the checkered flag, did you have a strategy in mind to pass the 24?
Yeah, my strategy was to go wherever he wasn't going to go. I was waiting for the white flag. I was actually thinking maybe off of turn 4. If you make your move early and people don't go with you, you're in 20th by the time you take the checkers. So you never know, but I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to go before the white flag. And then, yeah, I think the yellow came out in the trial or something and just kind of, that was a race at that point. But that's the luck. It's the way it goes. I'm not going to complain. Somehow missed 3 or 4 wrecks I totally should have been in. So top 3, I will gladly take that and go with it.
Now the ending there, when we were under caution, getting ready to come back to the green, and Chuck McClure's engine blew. Does the added pace laps to that, does that frustrate you as a driver because you had a game plan and now suddenly you have less laps to do it?
Well, really, the game plan is totally reactionary. I mean, you make deals with people, but some guy didn't get a good start and you kind of lost them, or some guy moves up and fills a spot, and your plan gets blown up very quickly in this type of racing. So I had a plan, whether it was going to be 4 laps or 2 laps. It was still going to be last lap, try to find somewhere on the track where he wasn't, and hope I get a push from behind. But yeah, I really feel bad for Chuck. I know last week he was missing a gear and he was just trying to prevent a checkup, but and then this week to have a top 3, just go away, just boom, out of it. So he's had 2 crummy deals. I feel bad for him, and but yeah, I'm due for some bad karma after this week. I got through a lot of stuff I shouldn't have and got a finish that I'm lucky to get. So I'll gladly take it.
Well, sponsored by Geico, but didn't have to take out any insurance policies here tonight at least. But we talk about the unpredictability of super speedway racing, especially at a track like Talladega. And you were talking about not wanting to get caught out, making a move too early. But if we look back, of the 4 races we've run now, the last 3 in a row have ended under caution. Do you think we see drivers changing up the strategy of when they make moves now, knowing that there is the likelihood that they might wait too long and end up not having any opportunity to paddle for the race win based on the timing of a caution like here tonight in the trioval coming to the start finish line?
Yeah, I mean, when you have a string of those in a row, people notice, and when you get to that 5 laps to go, instead of people riding around, they may make a move early. So you get guys that are getting a little, making some desperate moves versus guys who are just trying to stay in line and wait until the end. So you get, uh, some chaos from that. I mean, the the end of the race is pretty chaotic in itself. A lot of slicing and dicing, not knowing when the last yellow would come and how much time we'd have after the green. So yeah, I mean, we usually get a lot of green flag finishes. It's kind of unusual to have it go like this, but um, it's I don't know. It's tough, but we had a good time. Hopefully, we'll get a good green flag finish here next week or so.
Well, Josh, a great performance for you here tonight. Your best finish on the season so far. It's got you now up inside the top five in the point standings. And obviously, we know that this 39 truck's no stranger to victory lane. You won the race in the championship in last year's finale. So, we look to see if the consistency keeps up. And maybe in the next week or two, we end up seeing you clinch a spot via win. But until then, congratulations on the great performance tonight. And now we'll let you do some thank you sponsors and shout outs.
Appreciate it. Yeah, good job to Joe on the win. He's no stranger to winning on Thursday, so he's got another one. Thanks to Tim and to Wiley for doing all the work they do. They're going to probably do more this week. I'm going to be busy most this weekend, so it's going to fall on them to deal with all the replays and incidents and whatnot. Bones and Prime for keeping this place up and going for so long and doing it so well. The drivers, every week's a blast. If we didn't have people that raced here and donated, we'd all be doing something else on Thursdays. So appreciate that, and you guys too. I love these broadcasts. They're fun to go back and watch. Show to family and friends. They're amazed that it's a game when they hear the quality of the broadcast, see the quality of the driving. So thanks everyone for all that. I will shut up and I'll let you go on to the winner here.
That's Josh Metallic. He finishes P3 here tonight at Talladega Super Speedway. Congratulations once again, the great run, Josh. Best of luck next week.
Thanks, appreciate it.
All right, let's see if we can get our runner-up finisher here tonight. Driver the number 77, Donnie Garrett. Hey, Donnie, it's Michael and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
I got you guys.
Man, I'll tell you what, a great performance for you here this evening. You keep the 77 up in the top 10 in points. Almost pulled off that victory, but man, I mean, leading there on that final restart, we ended up having an extended caution, so a couple less laps to have to defend. I mean, what little more do you need to keep that 24 car at bay?
I needed another lap. I mean, um, we were we were just riding along. I was trying to get Rodney just to push me a little harder than what he was, but um, just like I say, just one of the things that come out right there, coming off of the travel, and there's just nothing you can do at that point. I mean, you just kind of long, and whatever happens, happens.
Man, I'll tell you, I was talking to Seth up here as the caution got extended. I was like, man, Dottie's got to have a smile on his face now, knowing because it's the less laps he's got to worry about here. And the restart wasn't that great. The 24 had it definitely timed out perfect, and I had it called. Was your plan to try to get in front of the 24 if you got cleared of him, or what was the strategy there for the if we could have ran both laps on the green?
Sure. So yeah, I was hoping three or four more cars would blow up each lap, and then we just ride it out like that. But oh no, my goal was to get Rodney to push me up, and then I was going to jump up in front of Joe, and then we were just going to hang on and see what happened, and trying to get that win. I'm going to be missing 2 races here soon, and I need a win, and so yeah, I was just balls to the wall, man, giving it all I had.
Yeah, we've ended up seeing in the last couple of weeks a lot of drivers have to survive the lotto queue with the big wrecks we have in the early portion of the race. And you were one of those drivers here this week, qualified, I believe, in the final row of the field. Had a big wreck there about 10, 15 laps in that you had to maneuver your way through. I mean, how difficult is it as a driver when you're so used to in the past starting up in the front ahead of all that trouble to then adjust your strategy accordingly, position yourself to be in a spot to avoid when that carnage takes place because it kind of seems like it doesn't matter if it's out of the tri-oval in the corners, every single available lane seems to close up in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, so I'm not used to being back here, like you said, and it's all new to me. And so you just try to work your way through there. You're constantly keeping your eyes on some certain people, where they're at, what they're going to do. So you just kind of bide your time when you're back there. Your whole strategy, your whole strategy goes different when you're back there. I always say, and I use an analogy. Some guys see this race in black and white. The guys that stay in the back tend to see this race in black and white. The guys that are up front seem to see it in 4D, or 4K. And I tell you, it's getting so challenging that we may need to switch to 8K to see the race because it just gets. I mean, the pressure is just mounts every week, and it's so rough. And I mean, it's just cutthroat out there. And luckily, like I say, I started 39th and finished second there. Almost had a win, and just bit my time all night, and ran with some great guys. I had Joe there. I had Rodney. Just ran around some good guys, and worked our way to the front and just kind of stayed there.
Well, he had to pass a lot of cars tonight, but he brings it home second place, almost pulled off the victory. So, Donnie, congratulations on a great performance overall tonight. And now we'll give you the opportunity to thank some sponsors and do some shout outs.
Sure. I tell you what, the old Astro Glide car was slick tonight. The old Astro Glide car, well, we got the number 2 position, but we definitely was coming to the front. But hey, I want to give a shout out to my partners in crime, my wonderful, beautiful wife, and then her best buddy Lisa, the lovely Miss Lisa as I call her, and her husband Court, and then Steve and Tiff. We're all weekend partners and just have a great time, and just wanted to give them a shout out. I'm sure they're watching tonight, and I know Lisa and Court, they're over top of Montana in a plane right now. So give a big shout out to those guys, and RTG, man. Just a great place to race. It's one of the best races to race out here, and you guys are putting on one hell of a broadcast. There's nobody better than you guys, and keep it up, man. The pressure's going to mount. It's going to keep going. I'm going to miss the last race of regular season, first race of the chase. So I'm kind of backed against the wall for this season. But hey, we're gonna give her all we got and just see what happens.
Well, Donnie, once again, congratulations on the great performance here tonight. P2 for the driver of the 77, and maybe next week we'll be able to see you get that one position better and park this thing in victory lane. So best of luck.
Thank you, guys. Woo!
And let's go down now to victory lane for our race winner, the driver of that number 24 Chevrolet Silverado. That's Joe DeSpirito. Hey, Joe, it's Michael. Let's set up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Hey guys, I got you. How you doing?
Man, I'll tell you what. That 24 car is or 24 truck in this case. It's kind of been through the ringer here in the early going of the season. You had that top 5 run, but then the other 2 finishes outside of the top 20. We knew it was just a matter of time, though, before we saw it taking a checkered flag. Didn't have to wait very long. Race number 4, you parked that thing in victory lane, but bit of a dogfight there at the end, and kind of the question mark of not knowing how many laps are going to be left. So I mean, did you have to call an audible on the strategy there when it was looking like it was going to be 5 to go and then it was going to be a green white checkered?
No. The key for me was just to, as soon as the green flag dropped, just to hit it before everyone, and it dropped, and I beat Donnie to the start, and I got a lead, and he couldn't get in front of me, and I just stayed there, and the caution came out right before the checkered flag, and nobody could make a move on me, and it's just good timing. Sometimes it turns out to where you're on the bad side of luck, and this time I was on the good side. So, oh yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of times that you could have been involved in some wrecks. You were up at the front, then all of a sudden you're in the mid pack there, and there was a couple of big ones there. And man, I'll tell you, definite luck definitely played a part, and that was some awesome driving by you as well. Just take us through some of those wrecks.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was tight. I was stuck in the middle for a while there, and right at the end there, it looked like Donnie and Grant got into each other somehow at the front, but I was worried about the 2 guys to my right. It looked like the 88 or the 088 was pushing down the 43, and they pushed me down into my lane. I did touch the apron, but when I came back into my lane, they were already in my lane. So we ended up touching because they came down and they wrecked after that. But yeah, it was crazy toward the end there. People zigzagging through lanes and a lot of pinching going on. It was tight, but yeah, my truck was strong and they were bouncing off of me. So, oh yeah, another one.
Joe, obviously, as mentioned, you're no stranger to victory lane. You've won multiple championships in this series, but the last season that we broadcasted this series, you guys were able to go out, set qualifying laps, kind of determine where you started in the field. And we would usually see you start up at the front of the field, usually either, if not the pole, on the front row. Now we've got this unique lotto queue system in. Nobody knows where they're going to start until about 10 minutes from the green flag. I remember you telling me that, when you'd have a victory, it was always rinse and repeat. Go back out there and try and add another one, add another win on, get those bonus points. How does the strategy now change up when you have no idea where you're going to qualify for the race?
Yeah, it really can change. If you start, 40th place, it depends on what you see. You kind of ride it out, or maybe the first 5 or 10 laps, see what the lines are looking like. And if they're a little squirrely, sometimes you kind of just ride the bottom for a while. And if people look a little more stable, you can take a chance and go third lane. And a lot of times you can make up 20, 30 spots real fast. And then if a caution comes out at the right time, you're good. You're up there already, and you made up all your spots in those few laps. But I mean, I've had it to where I started in 40th because of this lotto start, and it took me 60 out of 66 laps to get to the front. And sometimes it's a dog fight, and it's a hard, long fight, and it's sometimes it's not. This lotto is crazy, and especially in the pits, man. You don't know where anybody's pitting. You're telling everybody, I'm in the third stall. Where are you going to be? Oh, you're in the seventh stall. Okay, I'll go high. You go low. A lot more communicating on pit road, but we're getting used to this lotto start, so it's not as messy as it was. Of course, I prefer the qualifying because I'm usually starting near the front, but this is a new challenge, and they're gonna throw it at me. We'll do it. We'll try it out.
Well, four different winners in the first four races on the season. The playoff grid, it's starting to compile and looking pretty good with the names that are starting to be added to the list. Yours being the latest of them here tonight. Congratulations on the victory, Joe. And now we're going to hand the mic over to you for some Victory Lane thank you sponsors and shout outs.
All right. Thank my guys, Mobs Motors. I'm going to thank everybody watching at home, family watching at home, work buddies watching at home. I'm going to thank my new sponsor, Old City Fly Shop out of St. Augustine, Florida. And thank you guys, FRN. Thank RTG. And I appreciate it, guys. Yes, another W.
As Joe DeSpirito, he's your winner here tonight at Talladega Super Speedway and locks himself up a spot in this season's playoffs for the championship. Congratulations once again, Joe, and maybe we'll see again another win or two before the regular season comes to a close.
Oh, I'm going to try. Thanks, guys.
And that is going to end our coverage here tonight. Espirito going to join the likes of Chuck McClure, Richard Martin, and Rodney Sullins as drivers right now that hold playoff positions. All four of those drivers after tonight going to be in the top 11 in the point standings, so they have to be in the top 20 for the wins to count towards playoff spots. But Chuck McClure, I mean, man, the guy obviously needs a little bit of something to go his way after the last 2 weeks. Gets that post-race EOL penalty last week, was running up in the top 5 for the final restart, has the engine failure. He drops now 8 spots after tonight to 11th in the point standings. So I think that we're going to definitely have to keep an eye on that 17 the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely. It's going to be, luck's going to turn around on him one day or another. Right now, it's like the Talladega Super Speedway or, style curse. You have a good race, couple good races, then suddenly it all goes down the drain for a couple of weeks. You start to question, and then suddenly you're back, and you just can't really explain it. So he's going to come back, and he's going to come back with a vengeance.
ebbs and flows of super speedway racing. Well, the point standings after tonight look as follows. Rodney Sullivan still holds the points lead. Bob Seminara still stays in second. It is 4-point separation between those two now. Nafsker is going to jump up to third. He's 14 points back. Josh Metallic, our third place finisher here tonight, jumps up 3 spots to fourth. He's 24 points out. And Joe DeSpirito, our race winner, he's up 9 spots now, fifth in the overall standings, 28 points out of the points lead. Richard Martin, Donnie Garrett, Glenn Harris, Ken Roberts, and Brian Schilling. They right now hold the top 10 positions. Roberts right now would hold the final playoff positions as things stand as far as points. Chuck McClure, 11th in the standings, obviously would be in a playoff spot with his victory in the season opener. Again, folks, we will not be covering the RTG Talladega Challenge next week, but we will be back in 2 weeks' time, give you a recap of what took place in race number 5, and be ready to bring you coverage of race number 6 once again in 2 weeks. I hope you will join us for that Thursday night with the green flag scheduled to fly at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Michael, it's been another great one here tonight. We continue to see the playoff grid compile, starting to look pretty good there with the names that we're starting to see added to the list. And man, I appreciate you joining me in the booth once again.
Absolutely, always fun to be here. I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing these guys race, and I enjoy commentating. So it's always fun to be here.
Once again, congratulations to Joe DeSpirito on the victory here tonight. Thank you all for joining us for tonight's coverage of the 4th race of the 56th season of the RTG Talladega Challenge. For Michael Norman, I'm Seth Cole. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of the Flatout Racing Network.
Don't you speak for me.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.